Bug. Are you ready for artist story time?
Frida Kahlo, Like Father, Like Daughter, by David Stabler. Mexico's most celebrated female artist, Frida Kahlo, is known for her striking and sometimes shocking self-portraits and her distinctive personal style. As a girl growing up in Mexico, she found the strength to overcome hard times, thanks in part to the positive example set by her father. Frida Kahlo and her father had a lot in common. They both loved nature and the outdoors, they had the same dark eyes, and they shared an interest in the art and archaeology of Mexico, the country they called home. But one thing above all else bonded them together. Each had triumphed over a serious childhood illness. Guillermo Kahlo had immigrated to Mexico from Germany as a young man. When he was a boy, he had suffered an accident that damaged his brain, leaving him prone to seizures for the rest of his life. When she was growing up, Frida witnessed the aftermath of many of those seizures. Typically, they took place at night, just as Frida was going to bed. While her mother attended to Guillermo, Frida would lie awake, wondering if her father would be okay. In the morning, he would be at the breakfast table, looking fit as a fiddle and acting as if nothing had happened. Despite his condition, Guillermo became one of the most successful photographers in Mexico City. Frida often accompanied her father on his photography assignments. He taught her how to use a camera, how to develop photographs, and how to retouch pictures. Later, when Frida became a successful artist, she liked to pose the subjects of her paintings as if they were sitting in front of a camera. Sometimes in the middle of a shoot, Frida's father would be gripped by a seizure. He would suddenly fall to the ground and start shaking. Luckily, Frida had learned what to do in these situations. In the meantime, she would watch over his equipment so that no one could steal it. And after a few minutes, her father would recover and be back on his feet. When Frida was 6, she developed a serious medical condition. It began one day when she felt a horrible pain shooting down her right leg. A doctor diagnosed her with polio, a disease that causes the muscles in a person's legs to atrophy or waste away. Today, polio can be prevented with a vaccine, but in those days, there was no cure. Frida spent the next 9 months in bed. Her doctors feared she might never walk again. But there was one person who knew better, one person who understood what it was like to live with a disability and not give up. When Frida finally got out of her sickbed, she limped badly. Her right leg and foot had withered because of the disease, but Guillermo Kahlo had hope. He began nagging Frida to take up sports, something that was frowned upon for girls in Mexico at that time. Inspired by her father's example, Frida began an epic athletic regimen. She played soccer, boxed, skated, took up wrestling, and became a champion swimmer. She rode her bicycle, climbed trees, and rode a boat on the lakes in Mexico City. Everywhere Frida went, her father was right by her side, encouraging and helping her exercise. But Guillermo did not stop there. He had a plan to exercise Frida's brain as well as her muscles. He gave her books from his own library. He took her down by the river to collect stones, insects, and unusual plants, which they brought home and examined together under a microscope. Most important, he presented his daughter with her first set of paints. Then, on Sundays, father and daughter would head out to the park to create watercolors together. Frida felt better, but she would never be the same as before. Despite all her efforts, her right leg remained much thinner than the left. To disguise her disability, she began wearing boys' pants. Sometimes she put on 3 or 4 socks over her right calf. To balance out her uneven height, she wore a shoe with an extra high heel. While most of Frida's friends admired her dedication through her illness, some children made fun of her. At school, they called her Frida Pegleg. Others singled her out for her tomboyish clothes. Sometimes when she went whizzing by on her bike, one of the other kids' mothers would shout in Spanish, "What an ugly girl." But Frida never let her injured leg keep her from doing what she wanted. "Feet?" she'd respond to anyone who teased her. "Why do I need them if I have wings to fly?" Just like her father, she had come to understand the importance of pressing on no matter what obstacles were placed in her path. Frida had many more barriers to overcome before she became a world-renowned artist. When she was 18, she was in a terrible bus accident that left her with several broken bones. She spent 3 months in the hospital. During that stay, she began making self-portraits for which she would one day be known worldwide. "I paint myself because I am so often alone and because I am the subject I know best," she said later in life. All told, Frida would paint more than 50 such images, as well as numerous portraits of friends and family members. Frida wrote in her diary, "My childhood was marvelous because, although my father was a sick man, he was an immense example to me of tenderness, of work, and above all, of understanding for my problems." Shortly before she died, Frida painted one final portrait of her father. The inscription below the image reads, "I painted my father, artist-photographer by profession, in character generous, intelligent, and fine, valiant because he suffered for 60 years with epilepsy, but he never stopped working." She signed the painting, with adoration, his daughter, Frida Kahlo. The end. So what is a self-portrait? A self-portrait is when you take a pen or a pencil or a paintbrush and start painting yourself. Okay, so before you do your self-portrait, you want to look at yourself in the mirror or look at a picture of you and start looking at your face shape. So what kind of face shape do you think you have? There's all kinds of face shapes. As you can see here, we've got oval shapes, circle shapes, heart shapes, and some even have kind of a square shape. What kind of shape do you have? When I draw a little cartoon of myself, I usually draw a circle. So I'll draw it right here. 2 lines down underneath the circle for the neck. And for eyes, you can do all kinds of different shapes for the eyes. I like to do little half circles with a line underneath. Add some eyelashes. And little dots in the center for your pupils. And then the nose. Again, people have different shapes and sizes of noses. There can be big noses with big nostrils, or little tiny noses. You can draw a triangle nose, or sometimes even maybe a little more of a rectangular nose. I'm just gonna draw maybe kind of a little bit of a big nose. I kind of have a little bit of a big nose. And then you have to complete it with a smile. And people say I have dimples. Dimples are little dents in your face. So I'm going to draw the dimples then. And then I have curly hair. Others might have straight hair. Or maybe you can draw how you want your hair to be. And then you can continue to draw the body. Or like Frida Kahlo did, she liked to draw herself with animals. So maybe I'm going to draw a pet parrot. It's a little drawing. You don't have to worry. It doesn't have to look like a Frida Kahlo painting. But when you're all done with it, guess what? I want to see it in the comments below. So keep drawing. Bye. Okay, so close up we have a circle for the face. And then we add 2 lines for the neck. And then for the eyes, I did 2 half circles. And then you want to do little lines underneath the half circles. And then you want to add 2 black dots for the pupils. And then you want to add your nose, whatever kind of shaped nose you want. Big nose, little nose, triangle nose. And then to top it all off, you want to add your smile. Followed by hair and clothes. And that's my final portrait.